Okay. Yeah. So ready.
Yeah.
Daniel's ready, man. He's chomping at the bit.
I'm still unscattering the brain.
Welcome back.
Smoking if you got him.
Rough Draft Research. We are back in action. We had a lot of fun with the receivers last week. We're doing the same thing with the running backs, the ADP versus reality. We have a special show for you guys today. We dug deep, and by that I mean Christian and Daniel dug deep. I just pushed the buttons, bro. I guess we'll just start off some news. Big news in the Vikings world. Kwesi, the VP from the Cleveland Browns, has been signed as a GM. Still learning how to say the name. The news came through today. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. And also, Ryan Pohl from the executive from the Chiefs got hired for the Bears position. And after that, we got Sean Payton leaving the Saints.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Also pretty crazy, it seems like those two teams, or those four teams you mentioned at the top, are always linked because the Minnesota Vikings got their guy from the Browns, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so they hired Kevin Stefanski from the Vikings.
Yeah.
And, like, it's all just like this looped thing. And then the same thing with the Bears and Chiefs. Like, they got Bat Nagy immediately after the Chiefs were good. And now they're stealing a GM. You know, I don't know. It's just interesting.
Yeah. It's almost like the Bears are actually pulling from like a good team. Like, what are we doing over here, Vikings, Minnesota? Now, I'm excited. I'm definitely excited for it. But it is interesting to see that Sean Payton steps away. Like, that just opens up a whole new fucking coaching position. That makes everything kind of open right back up.
Didn't expect that. Then Byron Leftwich going to the Jags.
Oh, is that official?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
That's official.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that one will be really interesting. Also, just has any player ever gone back to be the head coach of a team they played for?
I want to say yes.
Not that I could think of, but I'm sure maybe.
Other than like maybe in the 60s. I mean, I know like Curly Lambeau was the coach and the quarterback, you know. But
I guess not head coach. Yeah, probably.
Yeah. Because I know the Patriots have brought back a lot of like defensive players to be coaches, but never the head coach. So I don't know. That'd be interesting to look at.
Yeah, definitely. I can try to Google something real quick.
But I mean, Sean Payton being gone is crazy.
Yeah, it would be even crazier if he didn't take a year off.
Yeah, and he just went to
somewhere else. Yeah. There's a lot. I mean, he's a great coach.
Yeah.
I mean, even what he did without Drew Brees and the whatever the fuck New Orleans was this year. Yeah, they're still right there.
Yeah, he's really good. I'm just confused by the wording of it all because he just says he wants to take some time away, too. Like he didn't even say he's retiring. So it's like, are they supposed to hire an interim coach,
right,
and just see what Sean Payton's gonna do, or do they hire a coach and then just fire him when Sean Payton gets back, or is that Sean Payton's excuse to go to a new team?
Yeah. He's like, let's just pretend like the Bounty Gate happened again. I'm just taking the year off, and I'll be back. I'll be back the following year. No big deal. We've been here before. Like, let me know when maybe he just wants to see how free agency plays out. He's like, you're gonna give me a real quarterback? I'll be back. Yeah. We'll see.
He's
having a walkabout. He's like, let's just take a break.
He's like, but I'm taking Taysom
the hall
with
pass.
me.
A hall pass. There you go.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
Just let me go coach Dallas for 1 year.
Just 1 year.
And
then
win the Super
back.
Bowl. I'll just be right back. Jeez.
Oh, good Lord.
Taysom's going to be here for 4 more years. You know I wouldn't leave him. I'll be back.
I kind of feel like, I mean, you know how I got my Taysom stuff, but I kind of feel like he's like, oh man, I really fucked this up with Taysom, Like, how do I get out of this? You know what? I'll just walk away. Just walk away. It's like he crashed his car into a house and was just like, you know what? I'm just gonna walk. I'm just gonna walk the alley. They won't find me. Yeah. They're not gonna run my registration. It'll be fine. It's
like I was never here.
Like Michael Scott in that episode of The Office where he gets on the train and he's like, I'm running away from my problems. Feels good.
That's exactly what's happening. That's what it feels like. I mean,
yeah.
Like that season is still going. I don't know. Oh, well.
Yeah, that is wild.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's the news. I don't know anything else. Bills, Chiefs, incredible game. Incredible games this weekend. Sorry about the Packers.
It happens.
On to the... Yeah.
One could say it's to be expected.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I'm just mad. It looks like Diggs won't be getting his 5 Super Bowl rings like he wanted.
That's going to be rough. Maybe start with 1.
Yeah, right?
And then you can be like, it'd be nice to host, 4 AFC championships at home or whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
And just build on that. That.
Work your way up, But shit. All right, let's get into running backs, boys. I'll start it we'll just do the same. We're going to do like the same frame as we did last week. So if you saw that episode, it'd be similar, but obviously running back. So slightly tweaked. I'm going to start off. I'm just going to start with team changes. We ended with that. It felt a little weird. So Sony Michel to the Rams, not much there. I mean, did some work. Kenyon Drake, we saw how that ended. And then Jamal Williams to Detroit.
We don't say that.
I only said that
the way we thought.
Yeah, not at all. But
even with Swift not in there, it was just
it just didn't really work. I don't know what happened.
Didn't click like we thought. So we'll go into the biggest risers. So I got 3 guys here that were obviously killers for you if you picked them up or drafted them where they were. So Cordero Patterson, ADP 74, fantasy finish of 7. That's a plus 67. Team insane. Change from the Bears to the Falcons. Mind you, this is PPR. We do PPR here. So I'm teasing these next 3 names just because I think next week we're going to do like an Are They Done Yet segment, and it's going to have these 3 guys on there. And so like the next guy's Leonard Fournette, ADP 31, fantasy finish of 5. Touchdown king over there. Or should I say touchdown prince? Because the touchdown king was James Conner. ADP 35, fantasy finish of 8, plus 27. He was a team change from Pittsburgh to Arizona. I mean, what can you say? He was a touchdown machine. And for all you box score boomers out there, the Keyshawn or the Deuce Vaughn type. You know what I'm talking about, Daniel?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I know you were. So speaking of James Conner, I want to kick it over to you guys and just, what do you have to say for yourselves?
Fucking called it.
Yeah, I mean, I was wrong about James Conner. But to be fair, watch his tape from last year and watch his tape this year. He got a lot better. Like, he looks better. He looks faster, and he looks slimmer. I think he put some work in the offseason, and it shows. And he still did well. Like, he was a touchdown machine in Pittsburgh, but it was almost like slow motion falling into the end zone. And now he still had a little bit of that, but he had enough to like add in other areas. And I gotta, just own up to it. I fucked that one up.
Yep. Yeah. Maybe it's the O-line. We know Pittsburgh's O-line. Never.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, Kenyon Drake had 8 touchdowns with Arizona in 2019. Then he had 10 touchdowns in 2020. It's kind of like, hey, we need someone that's just going to come in and run fucking touchdowns. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then James Conner comes in here and he pops off, man. During the fantasy season, he had 16 touchdowns, and that accounted for 42% of his fantasy points in the year.
Yeah.
So
that's incredible.
Just to compare to Jonathan Taylor, who we all know and love, he had 20 touchdowns over the course of the year, and that only was about 32% of his fantasy points. So
yeah, that checks out.
So it's kind of crazy, man. I don't know how sustainable it is. That number sounds crazy. He ended up with 18 touchdowns on the year. So
yeah, that's going to come down, but still, gotta give him props.
Well, yeah, we'll dive into it too. So stick around for next week, and we'll kind of dive into the stats if we think they're even going to be worth anything next year. So after that, we got Elijah Mitchell, already our favorite.
Who?
ADP 81, running back 28. That's a plus 53. Mind you, missed 5 games.
Oof.
So let's not make that a habit, Mr. Elijah Mitchell. Otherwise, we're going to have to hear that Darthur sermon all year next year. So, Christian, you called this. I'm going to kick it over to you, just if you want to take a little victory lap here.
Well, I mean, it took a lot of unfortunate luck for other people for this to even happen. I mean, if Trey Sermon or if Raheem Mostert doesn't go down in week 1 and Trey Sermon has a better camp, then we don't see Elijah Mitchell yet. I mean, I'll take the credit. I'm right about the talent, and I think anybody that if you just watched this film in college, you could tell that he was talented. He just needed the chance. He got a chance behind one of the best run-blocking offensive lines in football, and I don't know, he put his name on it. Just got to improve next year. Just can't stay down. But, I mean, missing 5 games, almost 1,000 yards, it's a hell of a rookie season.
Damn right it is. That's awesome. It was good to see.
Hell yeah. I don't know what to say, man. Obviously, I was a team Trey Sermon, but I liked Elijah Mitchell, and
we all did.
He ended up on the same team as Trey Sermon. I had to stick with my dude.
Yeah, no, yeah. I feel it. I wasn't stoked when he got drafted after Trey Sermon because I was like, damn, it's going to take him forever to get a chance.
Right.
But it just worked out that way.
Yeah.
I figured once he got a chance wherever he went, he would look good. But I don't know that I thought he would look this good this early. But
a lot of trust in him, too, it seemed, when he was on the field.
For sure.
All right, so we're going to move to Darrell Williams of the Chiefs, ADP 57, fantasy finish of 19. That's a plus 38. So I guess this kind of shows it's possible to have a running back in Kansas City, kind of after last year. We got a little scarce. We saw flashes of CEH. Also, the recent success of Jerick McKinnon.
Yeah.
So I want to pose a question to you guys. Do you see this just going to be a forever shared backfield as far as Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes era? Or do you see a back eventually kind of just taking the stranglehold on this position?
Personally, I think that if Clyde can stay healthy and do what he was doing last weekend, having explosive runs, getting it done through the air, I think that he could contain that role to himself, and you're not going to get anyone else consistently producing. But that being said, this is Kansas City, and when you have that play calling and those playmakers, it really opens a door for anyone, any touch to kind of pop off and have huge games. Mm-hmm. That's kind of where it stands with that team. It's not really like a selfish team. So to think of like a bell cow in that situation, it just doesn't make sense. But I think if Clyde can get in there, stay healthy, and have a consistent run, I think he could build a lot of momentum and own that backfield, personally.
I'm with you, but I just don't think that's going to happen. I think he'll keep getting hurt. I think he's just kind of shown that tendency already. And so in that way, I think Clyde will be the starter as long as he's there. But I think it's going to be more shared than not.
Yep. Oh, for sure.
So.
Agreed on all fronts there. So the last two I want to mention was just Jonathan Taylor and Austin Eckler, who ADP 8 and 9 fantasy finish of 1 and 2. I just wanted to mention them because it's almost like you're surprised, but you're not surprised. That's kind of how I feel about it. They were definitely capable, but unfortunate injuries. But nice to see those guys on top.
I'm surprised by Austin Eckler being that high. Jonathan Taylor doesn't surprise me at all. But Austin Eckler being 2 is super surprising to me. If he was in the top 10, I wouldn't have thought a second thing. But to be number 2 is impressive.
That's true.
Especially on an offense that really didn't run the ball that well.
No.
No. They got run on pretty well.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is pretty surprising. Are you saying that surprised with the finish or surprised their ADP was that low? Because, you got to put yourself back in the preseason mindset.
True.
Nyheim Hines was like the running back 16 last year.
Yeah.
True. So you were worried about that. Austin Eckler never really got the red zone run with Anthony Lynn in town. So everyone was like, hey, Larry Roundtree's the red zone running back, right?
Everybody was like that?
Everybody said that. All those motherfucking people, man. But, to your point with the run game there, Austin Eckler had 8 touchdowns through the air. That's pretty incredible for a running back. That's like 40% of his touchdowns were through the air. And a whole 20% of all of his PPR points were just the point per reception catch number. So, when you package all that together, if you're scoring 20 touchdowns and you're catching 70 balls, you're going to be top 6 no matter what.
No, definitely.
Yeah, I'd be intrigued to see where he's at in a non-PPR.
Yeah.
But I never even look at that because
it's for losers.
Yeah. That's like hard work. Yeah, Nick Chubb's just like the running back 1 every year. And no one even knows it because we're all playing PPR.
Right. Well, I'm going to move on to fallers. So we can kind of cruise through this because there's a lot of running back injuries this year. So you got Chris Carson, ADP 16, fantasy finish of 78. He missed 12 games. It's a 4-game sample size, and we had Rashad Penny kind of show out. So, we'll see. He does have another year on his contract. We also got Christian McCaffrey, ADP 1, fantasy finish 37. He missed 9 games.
Still impressive that he ended at 37.
Well, when he did play, he looked like Christian McCaffrey.
For sure.
But, all this trade talk, and if that happened, it could really shake up the NFL, depending on where he goes, because I think he's still capable of doing so. It's just a matter of injury, obviously. So I think they just need a quarterback. So maybe Carolina, come get Cousins. Give us J.C. Horn. Come on, baby.
I'm pretty sure you could trade J.C. Horn for a lot of quarterbacks.
Yeah, especially Kirk Cousins. But Saquon Barkley's my next one. ADP 7, fantasy finish 32, negative 27 on this. Missed 4 games. Pretty hot and cold when he played. He had some big games. I wanted to ask you guys, with Joe Judge out of the picture, are we going to see maybe a bounce back, or are we going to see maybe some wasted years on Saquon Barkley here?
I just think that's who he is. I don't think we're going to see a bounce back. He's just going to get hurt, and he's going to have explosive, crazy games where his athleticism and talent outshows everybody, and then he's going to have games where he gets 1.5 yards per carry. That's just what he does. I don't know.
He's always done that, and when that team's not functioning, he's not going to have a chance. I did see a mock where the Giants took 2 offensive tackles in the top 10 picks of the draft.
That'd be cool.
And I was like, man, if that happens, there's a chance for Saquon. But you would definitely have to be a different human than me to have Saquon on your fantasy roster.
Yeah,
is where I'm
with you.
Yeah.
So, no, thank you.
Just not consistent enough for me.
Yeah,
and it's not all his fault. It's just the team he's on, and he's just kind of prone to that.
Yeah, and sometimes he only plays 2 games and has shitty games.
Yeah,
and then that was the whole year last year.
Yeah.
So, don't.
Yeah, I'm not going to touch him. I didn't want to touch him before last year. Yeah. Just because his value. If I got him and if he fell, I would take him just to see, but I'm not taking him in the first round.
Right.
Yeah, I put him as I would only draft him in a redraft or a startup if he was maybe not even a startup, but a redraft if he could be my 3rd running back, which that's never going to happen. Which isn't going to
happen. No. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I'm right there with you. I feel like I could always find somebody I'd like better that early.
Same. At least someone to take a chance on.
Yeah.
So the next guy I have is Mike Davis, ADP 22, fantasy finisher 35. It's minus 13. He did come from the Panthers, that taking over that backfield after Christian McCaffrey last year went to the Falcons. I kind of only saw this as like the only kind of true disappointment, if you want to look at it that way, just because from a non-injury perspective, because you weren't really buying him for better than running back 22, but I didn't think you would. You kind of bought him for that flex play when you needed someone, and then obviously Cordero Patterson shows up and fucking kicks ass. So not much to say there. I think he might be towards the end of his days. And then last, I wanted to put Dalvin Cook, ADP 2, fantasy finish of 14. He did miss 4 games. 2 games to an ankle injury, 1 to a shoulder, and 1 to COVID. So I guess somewhat stayed healthy because the ankle injury was in season, so it wasn't a nagging injury, which was nice to see from him. But also turning 27, as we learned from the running back longevity episode we did last year, it's going to be probably the more interesting person to see where his ADP is next year. Just with the coaching change, turning 27. So I don't know if you guys had much to say on that, but it's weird because I could see his ADP being anywhere from like 3 to like 15 next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta say,
You're good.
I feel like he's got to stay in the top 12. Honestly,
I think so too, but I think he might be one of those Saquon candidates next year where someone's going to be like, I'm not touching him.
Yeah,
it might be me.
Yeah,
to be honest with you, just I don't want to spoil my whole thing later. So he's one of the guys I'm going to talk about later. So I'll dive a little more into it. Okay. But I mean, he's an awesome player, and he's definitely above Saquon to me. By a lot. Like, it wouldn't even be the same comparison. Like, I'd still take Dalvin Cook in the first round, probably, but there's just some things that I'm worried about, if that makes sense.
Oh, totally. Yeah, dude, you're talking to a Vikings fan, buddy. So with that said, that's the risers and fallers. Let's kind of go over to Daniel. He's got a whole spiel talking recency bias, top 10, not top 12, not in the top 12. So a smorgasbord. So take it away, man.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So last week on the recency bias, I kind of just break down if we're drafting people based on recent success or if there's other reasons we're drafting folks. And so with that in mind, I looked at the last 3 years and I got a little summary to break it down for all you guys.
Hell yeah, brother.
So last time I started with this year, I'm gonna save it. I'm gonna let that head of steam grow and get the suspense built, right? So, all right, let's look back at our draft from 2020. Now we're gonna start with this year's draft, and 7 of the top 12 ADP had running back 1 finishes in 2020. The other 5 running backs were rookie Najee Harris, Nick Chubb, who was 13, so that's pretty close to the top 12. And then you had a bunch of kind of semi-broken guys. You had Christian McCaffrey, you had Saquon Barkley, and you had Austin Eckler. So that all makes sense that people were still believing in those guys. Although some of those guys had a couple of rough years in a row. Saquon, CMC, we're going to talk about those guys later on the injury news. But for the most part, it was pretty smart drafting. Not nearly as smart as 2020 ADP, though. In 2020, 8 of the top 12 guys were RB1s from 2019. And again, you had a rookie in there, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. But the rest of the top 12 drafted running backs last year were top 20 in 2019. So we weren't really taking any chances. And I think it worked out. I think that the reason we were a little more conservative in 2020 was because we got a little crazy in 2019. Let me break down the 2019 draft because it was a draft for the dreamers. Let me just throw that out there. It followed a pretty similar trend. 7 of the top 12 drafted running backs had RB1 finishes in 2018. But the 5 that didn't were kind of a different breed. This was the year that Kerryon Johnson was drafted in the top 12 after having a 2018 finish of 33.
Jesus.
And yeah, and another top 12 drafted running back in 2019 was Le'Veon Bell, who had taken 2018 to be a rap artist. He was credited with 0 carries in 2018, but he did have an album called Life's a Gamble. So I think we all learned a little bit from that gamble. Thanks, Le'Veon. Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of crazy, right? So you look at all that, and then I just want to say, like, does this really mean anything? I kind of do. If you look at the difference between where a player finishes and where they're drafted the following year, it's a pretty small number. You get big differences when you come into injuries, right? And I kind of keep circling back to it. We did have a couple of guys that had injuries last year that had big bounce backs. Joe Mixon, Austin Eckler, and that's cool. You like to see it. But then we also had guys that didn't have big bounce backs, and that's your Barkleys and your McCaffreys. So basically, I'm kind of looking at it like I'm just going to trust your resume, you know? I'm not going to get cute. I'm not going to start dreaming. I'm not going to pull a 2019 and start reaching on guys and ignoring the warning signs. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So this year, 8 of the top 12 players had top 12 finishes in 2021. So that's not bad. Let's talk about the other 4. I think we already touched on most of them in the fallers section, but let's get a little more of a breakdown. We had Christian McCaffrey. He was ADP 1. He played 7 games, and in those 7 games, he averaged 18.2 points. Woo! So yeah, that is an RB1 average. This year, you really didn't have to do too much to be an RB1. You really just had to have 13 points per game, which
oh wow,
it's kind of sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then to be an RB2, it's like 11 points per game. So the difference, the value you got between the RB12 and the RB24 was about 2 3/4 points per game. So pretty low margin. You didn't get a lot of extra value from your low end RB1s. But the next guy, Dalvin Cook, ADP2, he had 12 games and he averaged 16.4. So he was a RB1 when he was playing. He was winning people games.
Yep.
When he was on the field. He actually had the true finish of 14th and with only playing 12 games. So to go back to what you're saying, I think he proves that he's still a viable option. You know, that's pretty insane. It's not quite as good as Derrick Henry. He was ADP 4, only played 8 games, but he had an average of 24.2 points per game.
Oh man!
And he played half the games, less than half the games of the rest of the guys, and he still finished as the RB17 on the year,
which is crazy.
It's just unheard of, man. But then you got
well, he also had that stat of where, I mean, he was a RB1 for what? 3 games after he was done.
Yeah.
Like it took Jonathan Taylor, who everyone was like, MVP season.
Right.
Took him like 3 games just to even overcome Derrick Henry's yardage. Like, that's crazy.
Well, yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good, man. Sometimes I need a little distraction to distract myself from myself. But I know you guys remember I used to bring up like, hey, guess how many full NFL teams have more rushing yards than Derrick Henry?
It's like none.
It's like just just the Ravens and the Browns, and that's it. But so he's insane. I don't know, really. It would have been nice to see him in the playoffs so we could get a little more idea of what we're going to see from him next year. But it was kind of a limited role. He did play well, but they lost, so we won't see any more of him. And then the last guy to be drafted in the top 12 that did not finish in the top 12 was Saquon Barkley. We know that he has had some injuries. Last year was really bad. This year was pretty bad. He played in 13 games, but he had an average of 10.8, which is barely an RB2. That's actually the same average that Devin Singletary had this year. Woo. So if you think of like Saquon and Singletary as equals, then you would be correct.
That's where we're at.
Yeah.
Even though Devin Singletary is like the size of Saquon Barkley's leg.
Right. So it's just crazy because, he had a finish of the running back 114 last year, like in 2020. So maybe don't take him as the seventh. But hey.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to throw out some guys. They didn't have high ADPs, but this is the Unbreak My Heart list. It's Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, and Travis Etienne. Like, don't forget about these guys. When it comes to ADP next year, and you're sleeping on these guys, I really wouldn't. All these guys had preseason injuries. They've had a long time to get healthy, and they're all have promising futures. So
we saw that from Akers too already. So
yeah, Akers is already back, good. Kicking ass.
That was fast too.
Yeah, the heart Akers.
Yeah,
it's my next.
And they're not done. I mean, they're not done. They're still rolling.
That's true.
That's so weird, though. That's like
my football season ended week 16. Okay.
Yeah. Just because I got Cam Akers in the IR doesn't mean he's still one favor with me. No. I'm with you. So I'm just going to roll that straight into the averages for guys who missed time. I gave you a little bit of the preview, right? The RB1s only if you had 13 points per game and played a full 16-game fantasy season, you were an RB1. So the guys who didn't play full seasons that had high averages, your boy Elijah Mitchell. I mean, how many times we got to bring this up? ADP 81, but he had a 15.6. So that was pretty good. That was a solid average. Clyde Edwards-Helaire, he only played 10 games. He had 11.7. So when he was playing, he was still only an RB2.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, mind you, that Elijah Mitchell, I didn't mention this. I meant to mention at the top of what I did. Yep. Those ADPs are running back 81. That's not.
Oh yeah.
That's not player.
Yeah.
Just
for
sure.
So you know.
Yeah, we're all pretty aware on that one by now. I think.
Hopefully,
that's just insane.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think. I got all the.
It's also just hilarious because in our head,
oh yeah,
that's like that guy's ADP. Like he should have been 27. Like the way we looked at rookies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, as far as averages go. He finishes the 13th highest average. So, pretty good for a rookie. Definitely not the best for a rookie. But Najee is a whole nother that's a whole nother monster.
But I mean, I still would have not believed you even at the beginning of this podcast if you had told me that Elijah Mitchell would have been the second or third best running back of this rookie class. Have the second or third best rookie season.
Yeah.
Because it'd be Najee, and then you could argue him or Javonte Williams.
Yeah.
And that's really
true.
it.
Yeah. I mean, Javonte, he had an average of 12.3, and he played all 16 games. So that's just a fun nugget. Obviously, he had a little more competition in the backfield.
Mm-hmm.
So jumping into my next guy on the average that missed time is Kareem Hunt. Let's all remember Kareem Hunt because he only played 8 games. He had an ADP at 23, but his fantasy average was 13.8, which was an RB1. Yeah. So, despite all the hate, and I don't know. Obviously, he brings hate on himself, kicking people and doing crazy shit. Yeah. But there's room for 2 RB1s in that backfield.
Possibly 3
year after year.
Possibly 3.
Shit. And then, as mentioned, I threw Chris Carson in. I usually only do an average for guys who played at least 7 games, so that maybe they might have contributed to your fantasy team. But anyway, Chris Carson, he played 4 games. He had an average of 12, which was an RB2. So. Other guys, DeAndre Swift, he was 11th overall in the weekly averages. Not bad. Alvin Kamara missed a little bit of time. He was 7th in the weekly averages. So, these guys, they did pretty good. They just they weren't on the field, so they couldn't do it every week and become all-stars in your heart.
Yeah.
But, sometimes you get hurt when you play a full contact sport. That's the most intense thing in the world.
Especially at that position.
Yeah.
And it just happens.
Exactly.
Every single play.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's a reason they sit out when they don't get extended.
Right. Yeah. So I don't know. That's kind of the averages. That's the injured guys. That's a little bit of the recency bias was in there. I definitely wanted to talk about a few things. When I mentioned that 8 of the top 12 ADP had RB1 finishes, that's something that is kind of the same number year after year. But one thing that you got to look out for is guys who started and ended the season on hot runs. I got into this last week when I looked at the last 6 weeks and the first 6 weeks, and we talk about guys who didn't end up the year as RB1s, but they still had, 6-week segments where they were RB1s. And that carries a lot of momentum. The guys you don't want to forget about, so the guys that had the first 6 weeks that were RB1s that didn't finish there, Derrick Henry, whatever. But DeAndre Swift was in there as number 7 in the first 6 weeks. James Robinson was number 8 overall in the first 6 weeks. And I already mentioned Kareem Hunt. He was 9th through the first 6. Darrell Henderson was in there at 13th. So those are guys that you might not want to forget about. Swift is a big one. Obviously, James Robinson, he walks straight into the same perplexing situation as he was before. Except this time he's got the OC from the Bucs, who it was super easy to discern who was going to be the lead runner in that offense. So
yeah,
just apply that situation to this. But things that are a little more clear are the guys that left the year hot, right? Last 6 weeks, they were hot. Number 1 in the last 6 weeks was David Montgomery. How's that?
Is that just what he does every year
Dude,
or something?
It's crazy, man. I don't know, man. Whatever. Have fun. I'm into it.
He said Iowa State blood, baby. Brees Hall.
There you go. We got more coming.
Wangwoo.
Oh, shit. Number 5 in the last 6 weeks was Javonte Williams. I feel like that's a guy that carries pretty good steam to break into that top 12 ADP for sure.
I just want to offer my whole roster for him.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
I wouldn't advise that.
Because you're already doing it?
Yeah. I wish. I can't pull off a trade to save my life. But Josh Jacobs was the RB7 over the last 6 weeks. So is this finally Josh Jacobs? It's whatever, man. He's had some good runs. So he's a guy I think you can trust. I never really have, but I'm getting there. I'm coming around. Speaking of guys you can finally trust, Rashad Penny, number 9 over the last 6 weeks. What are you going to do?
Did he even play in 6 games?
No, it's only 5 of those. Yeah,
good. 5 games. Yeah,
good eye. So, yeah, there's a couple guys like that. But number 10 was Sony Michel. We're kidding. We're joking about this. So don't remember that going into next year.
No. And if you're in our league, remember that.
I mean, I don't even know. Like, he's had to have been on a 1-year deal, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think so.
And then Devin Singletary finished out the year at the 11 spot. So you got a big trust on that. I did want to mention Damian Harris. He only played 4 of those last 6 games, and he was still at the number 13 spot out of all the guys doing that. So I went a little deeper, right? I go to 16. I only just talk about the guys I think are interesting. But this guy, the next guy, finishes the number 15 in the last 6 weeks, and I'm not even going to say his name. That's how much it doesn't matter. Straight up.
All right.
Well, all right.
It's Rex Burkhead. So, are you happy? Are you glad I said that?
I thought it was one of those like, ooh, this is a little thing I'm keeping for myself.
Oh man. Anyway, I don't know if I just talked for 20 minutes or 90 minutes, but I think that's that. I think I was sticking a fork in it, man.
That was great, man. I really enjoyed all of that.
Thanks, AJ. That's why.
Remember those that Singletary and Harris finish numbers for me at the end here.
You
I don't
got
have
it
my pen on me.
On the last 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Queued up.
Hell yeah, dude. That was awesome. Round of applause, everybody.
Not necessary.
No, dude. I love that, dude. This is what we live for, dude. All that in-season stuff, that's bullshit. Let's get into the fantasy of fantasies.
The off-season me is like the happiest person, you know? I don't have to look at a dude that like got injured in the first fucking possession or whatever. It's just all numbers and fucking just balling out dudes. Everyone's an RB1 in this episode, you know?
I love it. Well, with that said, we're going to go to part 3 of the episode. Christian, getting into it. I think you got a whole slew of things to talk about, so loosen up. Everyone, let's take a little break. We'll just loosen up.
Yeah. Take a walk about and come back in.
Oh, no, I want to hear all this, man.
Sean Payton.
On to you, baby.
Yeah, so, last week I looked at some interesting wide receiver stats. I kind of wanted to do the same thing, just see if I could see little trends, little things that maybe we as a podcast and you as the listeners could kind of maybe keep your eyes on for future seasons. But I do want to start with a few just top 10s that are super interesting. I always think yards per attempt is a very overlooked stat for running backs, and I don't understand why, because it's like literally the definer of how good they are, in my opinion. Not always. Obviously, you have your little like for instance, Derrick Henry's not in the top 10 for yards per attempt, and obviously he's a superstar. And then you'll have people that are super high in yards per attempt that end up not being great. But I do think it's a good indicator, and some interesting names. The top 10 for yards per attempt this year, Damian Harris at 4.6 yards, James Robinson 4.7, Aaron Jones 4.7, Elijah Mitchell also 4.7, Chase Edmonds actually with 5.1 yards per attempt, Tony Pollard at 5.5, Miles Sanders 5.5 as well. And like he would be one that maybe I wouldn't believe the yards per attempt, but I'll get into why later. Then we had Nick Chubb, 5.5, Jonathan Taylor, 5.5, and Rashad Penny had 6.3 yards per attempt. So just pretty interesting. Anything above 4 yards per attempt is really good. I mean, if you think about it, if you run the ball 4 yards every single time, you're always going to get a first down. So that's really good. Yeah. So that's what I like to look at. Obviously, we'll get into a little bit more later. Another stat that's a little harder to find, so if you ever want to go to Pro Football Reference, they have it, is literally just broken tackles. Another one of the most important running back stats that you can have. And so the top 10 this year, James Conner at 19, which is why I talk about like he was just a better player because he's breaking more tackles than he used to. Antonio Gibson also had 19. Melvin Gordon actually still showing what he can do at 20. Josh Jacobs also at 20. Joe Mixon at 20. Kamara at 22. Nick Chubb at 23. Jonathan Taylor at 25. But this is what I really want to get into. The top 2. Najee Harris, number 2, 30. And Javonte Williams was number 1 with 31 broken tackles.
I knew that shit.
You should have listened to us. You should have listened.
And that's him playing half as much time as most of these other guys. He's still getting 31 broken tackles. And it just, like you said, we talked about it all offseason. The dude just sheds tackles like it's nothing. And that's proof that the NFL is not going to stop him. So anyone that took Javonte Williams better be feeling real good right now.
Yeah, just... All right, everyone, pat yourself. Hey, we'll take this moment to anyone who drafted him. Just pat yourself on the back. All right. Okay, Christian, keep going.
Anyone who stole a pick from Christian to draft him?
Yeah, that went sideways on me real quick.
But you got Gabe Davis, man.
Yeah, I did get Gabe Davis. Let's go. 4 tutties.
That's
by
awesome.
Emmanuel Sanders. Speaking of him. But yeah, so now we'll get into really the 2 stats I really want to start watching from now on, now that we're doing this podcast. It's yards after contact per attempt and yards before contact per attempt. And the reason I like these two, if you're getting a lot of yards before contact, but you're not getting a lot of yards after contact, I think that's a good indicator of who really needs an offensive line more. Because these guys need more space to kind of run, and then the other guys are able to just shed contact and get more yards afterward. So I think you can kind of use this if you're in the top 10 of yards before contact, but not in the top 10 after. It's a kind of a good indicator that maybe you're not the best right now. So I want to go into the yards after contact per attempt, and we'll start. It's not quite the top 10 because we had like 6 or so guys, 6 to 8 guys that all had the exact same, and I thought their number was really interesting and their names. So we'll start at the bottom. We got Michael Carter at the very bottom at 2.3 yards after contact per attempt, and I'm not going to keep saying that, so just remember that's what I'm talking about. So Michael Carter, Aaron Jones, Leonard Fournette, Devin Singletary, Damian Harris, and Javonte Williams all were sitting at 2.3. So that was the very bottom. They were all right there at the bottom, so like tied for 10th. Then we had Tony Pollard at 2.4.
Uh-oh.
Elijah Mitchell 2.5. Ramondre Stevenson at 2.7. Nick Chubb 2.8. Jonathan Taylor 3. And Rashad Penny at 3.1. So those are the guys that are averaging almost 3 yards or 3 and above every single time they get contact, which is huge.
I'm hearing like repeated names through this too. I like that.
Yeah. People having really good.
Damian Harris.
Rashad Penny.
Got it.
So then we'll go to the top 10 guys that yards before contact per attempt. We've got Clyde Edwards-Helaire at 2.6, Jonathan Taylor at 2.6, Darrell Henderson 2.7, James Robinson 2.7, Dalvin Cook 2.7, Devonta Freeman 2.8, Tony Pollard 3.1, Rashad Penny 3.2, Miles Sanders at 3.4, and Chase Edmonds leads that whole group at 3.6. Wow. Now, what I thought was interesting and what I really wanted to get into was the guys who are on the second list, but not the first list. So the guys that are in the top 10 for yards before contact, but not the other way around. Those names: Chase Edmonds, Miles Sanders, Devonta Freeman, Dalvin Cook, James Robinson, Darrell Henderson, and Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
Dalvin.
And so these are the guys I'm worried about because they're not getting any yards after contact. So that means if the quality of their offensive line play dips at all, in theory, if they continue at this level, then they're not going to perform as well. So obviously you got to look into the offseason and see which offensive line you think they're going to get better or get worse. But as of right now, Chase Edmonds, you got James Conner there, not a consistent offensive line, hasn't been in the top 10 for rushing run blocking on PFF in the last 3 years. Yikes. So they're going to go up and down. Who knows? Miles Sanders, again, the Eagles were a top 10 run blocking offensive line this year, and they were outside the top 15 last year. And the year before that, they were 7th. And then the year before that, they were like 20th or something. Jesus. So they're just not consistent. So, okay, Miles Sanders is getting a lot of yards before contact, not much after. If the offensive line goes back down, is he going to see a similar dip? Devonta Freeman, he's probably not even going to be around, but also a terrible offensive line. Worry about the Giants. Worry about Saquon Barkley. James Robinson, bad line. Travis Etienne's coming back. Darrell Henderson, there's too many mouths there. They're probably going to re-sign Shelly Michelle, you would think, and keep Michelle and Akers and then let Darrell Henderson go. Who knows? And then CEH, O-line played great. Kansas City was, I forget where, but they were in the top 10 for run blocking, according to PFF. He just doesn't break any tackles. He doesn't get yards after contact. And so, but really the guy I want to talk about, and we brought it up earlier, Dalvin Cook. He was on the list in the top 10 for yards before contact. He was 28th in yards after contact.
Yeah.
So just wasn't breaking many tackles. This year he went, last year, Dalvin Cook was number 2 in broken tackles with 33. And this year he fell all the way down and he only had 16, which put him outside the top 10. And it's just a concerning trend. It's if you go back and you look at all of his contact stats, they're just kind of starting to go down. Last year he had his best season, but like now they're trending down. We don't know how the offensive line is going to be. We don't know who they're going to bring in to coach. There's just a lot of red flags on Dalvin Cook outside of his obvious talent. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I think that even ties back to when I brought that up earlier. Like, when you watched the games he missed, was it 2 games with the ankle injury, 1 with a shoulder, 1 with COVID, right? Mm-hmm. So maybe it's very telling. Like, sure, he's not missing games because of his shoulder, but that's also probably why he's avoiding contact,
Yeah.
Not willing to make that move to hurt himself. And I mean, as you're saying with the trend, it could very well be like he's like, I need to stay in this game. I don't want to hurt my shoulder, so maybe I'll just take this hit when it comes to me. So that's not a good sign.
Yeah, and like you said, he's turning 27. I just see it going downhill from here. Maybe 27 is going to be a good year, but I don't know if I want him after that.
Well, I don't know if you heard, but he's switching to number 4. He's going to the college number, and we all see it. We all saw how
Jesus Christ.
We all saw how that worked out for people. Looking at you, James Conner.
My goodness, man.
On the flip side of that, though, players that excite me for being on the yards after contact list, and they're guys we've all talked about, so I'm not going to spend too much time on them. But Michael Carter, Javonte Williams, Ramondre Stevenson, Elijah Mitchell are all on teams, with the exception of Carter, that have pretty good run blocking offensive lines and showed their talent this year. Michael Carter did it with not having that great of a run blocking offensive line. And then honestly, Devin Singletary, man, I was excited on him when he came out. He hasn't been very good, but if you watch the Bills-Chiefs game, he took like 80% of the offensive snaps or something. And like Zach Moss, just like a complete no-show. And so I don't know. I'm actually kind of excited about Devin Singletary as like a flex piece or a bench piece. But like, I think he could win you a couple games.
Yeah.
When you're in a tight spot.
I think it's hilarious just from like an inside perspective of all of us, where Devin Singletary, you drafted him, right?
Yeah, I drafted him.
Oh, Dan drafted him. And then you traded for him.
Yep.
And then I traded for him.
Yeah.
And then I gave him away.
Yeah.
It's just like we've all held the baby and just passed it along. But
woo!
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that was pretty much all I got. It actually was a little shorter than I thought it would be, so I hope it was informative.
It was awesome, man. And
that was. Can we clap for him?
Yeah,
because if you guys clap for me,
that was awesome,
that was
man. This is my favorite time of the year. I just like
bonus segment. I got another one. Let's do.
Yeah.
I'll do it next year.
Okay. Well, I was gonna say, because this kind of leads into my next thing, which is kind of the up and comers, could be's, works in progress types, and just for the sake of tying it all together, like I got Devin Singletary on here. Like it seemed like he's earned that role on the offense. So you can't stop that whole Bills offense, and you got to respect everything about Josh Allen. And you got Devin Singletary, who seems to be kind of putting it on lately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. So, literally just echoing what we just talked about.
Okay, yeah, for sure. So. Sorry, I paused. I was like, no, you guys have everything? Okay, yeah, okay.
No, I didn't mean it insulting. I just meant, that's how good he's been. We all noticed it individually and wanted to bring it up.
It's just that one that got away for all of us. At this moment.
I put a note here that says, Devin Singletary, I was wrong. Running back Hunter Renfrow.
Yeah, right? It was me, not you.
No, it was never us, dude. I mean, you look at that, you can't buy in. You can't buy into an offense with Josh Allen running design runs. I don't know how many attempts he had compared to Singletary, but it could have been that far off, man.
Right. Well, it's also when you look at it,
I'd say that I do know Josh Allen had 122 attempts. Devin Singletary had 188. So.
Wow. Well, it is that same concept of let's say Austin Eckler, when you're like, I love Austin Eckler, but he doesn't get any touches in the red zone, and that scares you. And then they bring in someone like Zach Moss, and they already have Josh Allen. Yeah. You're like, well, fuck.
What are you gonna do?
What's gonna happen here? Sure, he's gonna have a supplemental role, but I don't know. I think he earned some trust in the McDermott offense. The other two I was gonna mention, Javonte Williams, but that's pretty obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Melvin.
Who now?
Who keep that mindset going in the redraft next year, son. It's obvious. Melvin Gordon more than likely out. It's your cream dream 3 down back, as Christian mentioned, with the offensive line. The other guy that I kept hearing his name as you guys were going, Damian Harris.
Mm-hmm.
So as you said, he finished the last 6 week 15, right?
Yeah.
And then Christian, as you mentioned, his yards after contact as Pretty well good. As before contact. Also going into his last 13.
In 4 games.
In 4 games, 4 of the 6. But also going into his last year of his contract, it kind of seems like maybe shitty, but at the same time, it's like probably going to just run him into the ground, right?
Yeah.
With Ramondre Stevenson on the back burner.
Yeah. It is shitty, but that does make sense.
Right.
Amen.
So the next guy I have on here, and I'm just going to throw this out. First 8 games, 33% snap count. Last 9 games, 50.4% snap count, even though Aaron Jones missed 2 of those games. A.J. Dillon. I just want to throw this to Christian as the House Packers fan. Like, how do you foresee this running back situation moving forward in Green Bay?
I think it's going to be closer to that 50% split. And it's not going to be great for fantasy for Dillon owners or Aaron Jones owners, but it's great for the Packers, and that's why they do it. And I think an underrated part of that game on Saturday, when A.J. Dillon went out of the game, that was way bigger than people talked about, I feel like. It changes our offense. We can't consistently get short yardage gains with Aaron Jones. Sometimes he pops them off for 45 yards, and then other times he gets stuffed. A.J. Dillon is an animal. They're just used so differently, and they use them equally well. Matt LaFleur always talks about wanting to have 2 guys. I think he more meant one superstar with one Jamal Williams type, but now it looks like A.J. Dillon might just be his own type of superstar.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Hell yeah.
Awesome. The next guy I have is, I put this guy on before the Bucks played last. Keyshawn Vaughn. The hype from the last season going into this season, like he was going to carry the load, but then of course you kind of saw the glimpses, and as you said, in a Byron Leftwich offense, it seems one guy is going to rise to the top. Leonard Fournette comes back, he gets 0 carries, so maybe he needs to be off the list. But definitely something to monitor as far as the Fournette contract and whatever happens in Tampa Bay.
Fire and brimstone.
I don't know. I put these two guys on here. I don't know how relevant it should be, but Deonta Foreman and Hilliard. I never remember his first name.
Oh yeah.
You can't think of it either, can you?
I don't. But I should know his name. It's kind of ridiculous.
I only put this on here because Foreman, 25 years old, 133 attempts, 566 yards, 3 touchdowns. Hilliard, he's going to be 27 in like 20 days. 56 attempts, 350 yards, 2 touchdowns with a 6.5 yard average.
Dontrell,
yeah.
Dontrell.
Do you see anything coming from these guys? They're both free agents. Maybe someone being re-signed to back up Derrick Henry because of the plate in his foot? Or are these just kind of like fantasy daydreams that I'm having?
I think go ahead.
You go ahead.
Oh, I just
stop it, you fucking dick. You did it on purpose.
Go ahead, man. I think they're relevant guys. Elsewhere as backups, I don't think they're guys you should be. I mean, I think they're stash worthy. See what happens. Give them a couple weeks. Don't cut them for a rookie. Cut a wide receiver because there's a million of them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Foreman, I'm into. Not as into Hilliard. But it really depends on where he goes. I mean, if he stays in Tennessee, then meh. As long as Derrick Henry doesn't get hurt. And then really, if he doesn't go to an offense that's kind of built to run like that, like Tennessee I mean, obviously he wouldn't go to Cleveland, but that's the name popping in my head right now. But like a running first team, then I don't think I'd be that interested. Because I think the Titans' offensive game plan kind of helped him succeed.
Totally.
Sure.
Well, I mean, that was kind of the next thing. Just like, so Tennessee drafts a running back next year. Is that just kind of skyrocket on your list a little bit? No.
I mean, they just went through Darrington Evan. Like, that was a pretty high draft pick.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's just ghost town in there.
Well, it's just interesting, too, because you look at someone like Foreman, and, like, to me, on the games, he had games where he just really popped out. Like, he just ran really hard. He looked like he kind of works hard. Maybe not the most technical runner. But then you see people in the NFL, like the Falcons in Miami, who don't prioritize a back at all. And you're like, I don't know. It's just interesting to see where these coaches prioritize certain things. But we'll move on. Jarek Patterson with J.D. McKissick moving on, leaving 53 targets on the table, baby.
Oh, yeah, man.
Hashtag Scatterson. We talked about him in the last offseason.
That's all Antonio Gibson's money.
Yeah.
I'll get excited about this one when J.D. McKissick doesn't get re-signed, because I have a sneaky suspicion that they're going to re-sign him.
Yeah, same.
It'd be crazy not to. Or, you know,
it's
easy. It would be really easy to do it.
Yeah,
dude's already got a townhouse in DC.
Pretty cheap. Like,
yeah,
just kind of. They have
Payton
plenty
Barber
of money,
cheap,
I'm sure.
Right.
Yeah.
So last guy.
Everyone without a franchise quarterback seems to have money, right?
Yeah.
Except for New Orleans.
Who has like negative money. So last but not least, or possibly least, Eno Benjamin. Connor and Edmonds, both free agents. So something to monitor. Could it possibly be hashtag Eno Benjamin season?
No.
Nah.
All right.
What is this, 4th year breakout? Like, how often does that shit happen, you know?
Mike Davis.
Yeah.
That was like 5th or 6th year, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, man.
He had a good run in Seattle, and then they, kicked him over to...
Rashad Penny?
Yeah,
Chicago. But
yeah. And then they cut him from Chicago?
Yeah. It's like a whole thing.
All right. With that said, let's move on to our draft.
Well... Before we go, you guys.
Oh, I forgot. You got your thing.
I've got layers of shit that I got into on this, Christian, and I'm not gonna dredge them all up. I could give out a couple of things. But one thing I didn't hear any of us talk about Ezekiel Elliott.
I heard a lot of Tony Pollard though.
Yeah, well, Zeke was the number 6 finish on the year, so I just wanted everyone to know that, you know.
Yeah, he did well. I gotta admit.
Yeah. I mean, he was drafted number 5 and he finished number 6. Like, that's pretty fucking awesome. I'm not here to, like, you know, dream up love stories for Ezekiel Elliott. That's whatever. He's whatever. But I do want to mention a couple of guys that he had just as many catches, if not more than. And the list goes Antonio Gibson, Alvin Kamara, Jonathan Taylor. That doesn't really matter. But Joe Mixon, you know, so these guys that are dynamic in both the pass and the run. You know, just because Tony Pollard's there doesn't mean that he wasn't getting that premium work. These other guys didn't really have that much competition on their own team. And Zeke still managed to come up with 47 catches this year. Nice. You know, he scored 12 touchdowns, and he had a 1,000-yard rushing year. So just got to throw it out there just because we didn't talk about him so much.
It's true.
And then another guy we didn't talk about very much was Nick Chubb, who finished as the running back 11. So he had 1,259 yards, total of 9 touchdowns on the year. He didn't really get that many catches, so that's obviously holding him back compared to the rest of these guys. You know, in the top 12, the least number of catches was 20. That was Nick Chubb. Next up is James Conner, right? Who obviously we've established that James Conner is only being talked about in this conversation because of touchdown points. So for him to do that well, getting seemingly half the amount of targets as any of the other guys in this conversation, you know, that's pretty good. Obviously missing all those games for Kareem Hunt maybe gave him a little bit of a boost, but
yeah.
But that's it. We talked pretty well about the other 10 guys. I just wanted to throw out those 2 names real quick.
No, I'm with you. They both had great seasons.
Actually, I'm glad you brought those up because I don't think Zeke was even mentioned. So,
no.
With that said, let's go on to the 3-man draft we do every week. So these are the results from last week. It seems we have a trend.
What happened?
Daniel gets first. I get second. Christian gets third. It's not last. It's third. It's still a bronze.
Yeah. I got 156. Like, it's not like I'm doing bad,
dude. I had Gabriel Davis.
Is that a lot of points?
I had Gabriel Davis with 52 points, and I still lost.
Sounds right.
Like, you would have kicked Christian. You would have beat me by a lot had I not had a 4-touchdown game. So we're going to go back into it. You can look at the player pool we got up here. Like, it's slim pickings. We're at 4 games, so it's going to be a little more cutthroat. But same order, so we're going to cut out the super flex and the flexi. So we're just going quarterback, 2 running back, 2 receiver, tight end, flex, defense. So, Christian, take it away.
Well, since it's no longer a super flex, I think I got to go with Joe Mixon. He's probably the best running back on the board. And I don't know, the Bengals are going to need their superstars to show out if they have a chance to beat Kansas City.
Strike them out for me.
Oh, yeah.
I got it.
Oh,
thank
perfect.
You. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I agree with that. So you guys are going to have to bear with me because I'm going to go to the poll, too, because I want to look at this. I think you kind of got to go running back for sure. Oh, baby. I think I'm going to go Cam Akers. Take him off. I've drafted him. I missed him on my team this year. So let's go with him. Kick it over to you, man.
Okay, yeah, I guess I'll go for Elijah Mitchell. Kind of feels crazy not to.
Yeah. He's the only starter, left. You know.
Yeah.
I mean CEH, but they've got 3 guys there, so
that's true. Yeah, as far as this all goes, I want to say it's kind of heartbreaking that none of us, say whatever you will about Tampa Bay, but I must love Mike Evans,
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, he was one of the better parts of my team last week.
He does feel like he's just gonna be a wide receiver one until like 2060 or something. It just keeps happening.
It'll never stop happening.
The new Julio Jones.
But you better just pencil me in for Cooper Kupp, I guess.
That's fair. That's fair, dog.
You know.
There's not much fantasy take there. He's just incredible.
Yeah, dude. I think I'm just going to take Pat Mahomes here. He looks like he's, this isn't a super flex, and it's not like most weeks where we just have infinite number of quarterbacks to pick from. So I'll snipe him here. Just get that QB out of the way, make it easy for you guys.
All right. Well, I'm going to take a name that seems to be left off the list.
Uh-oh.
But I'll take Jamar Chase.
Oh, is he not on there? Oh.
He was not. But he is now.
I thought I saw he wasn't on there, and I added him at the end. But
maybe it just popped up on my screen. I don't know. It was blank.
I typed it just now.
Okay.
Because I think I've had Tyler Higbee there.
You can tell because it's spelled right that it wasn't AJ.
He doesn't have the apostrophe?
Shut up, man. It's your pick.
Are you serious?
No. It is mine again, and I'm going to take Deebo Samuel.
Wait, is that not... Has that been wrong the whole time? And Deebo?
Yeah.
Damn, all right.
That's smart. Coming up strong.
Yeah, gotta go. I thought about Tyreek Hill there.
Hey, whoa. I'm just kidding. You do.
But, I'll do Deebo, and I do think the Bengals are going to give the Chiefs a shootout. So I think people are going to score points. So let's go.
Yeah, I was going to go the stack anyway. So I'm going to take Tyreek here.
Okie dokie do. Well, you better give me the other stacks. Give me Travis Kelce. And
Smart.
Yeah. Give me that Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Giving you first choice there, Christian.
So let's see here.
Thanks.
So CH gone. All right, damn. Running back is brutal. I think I am going to go. I'm going to go with. Oh, shit. I do that every time. I'm going to go with OBJ. I'm feeling
That's a good one.
I'm feeling it. Like Blink 182 said. Feeling it. Feeling this.
I'm feeling this.
I got a regret right now. What are you saying?
I'm feeling this.
Oh, okay.
All right. Well, he hasn't had that good of games the last few weeks. But I guess I'll trust talent, and the rest of the tight end pool is pretty poor. So give me George Kittle.
Georgie Porgy.
It's got the Debo Kittle stack.
Yeah. Ooh. And then I'll go ahead and just stack it another time. Give me Joe Burrow.
Whoa.
Going hard on them Bengals.
Going hard on the Joes.
All the Joes.
I think here with my flex, I'm also going to take another receiver. I'm going to go with...
Oof, we saw flexes?
Yeah, dog. I'm going to go with T.
T. Higgins.
Take T. Higgins in the flex.
Okay. I guess I still have to get a second wide receiver, huh? Let's see. Oh, I see Tyler Higbee is now a wide receiver. Fucking up.
That was supposed to be Jamar Chase. Like, I fucked it up. Okay.
Gotcha. I guess I'll give me Brandon Ayuk. Fucking whatever. 0 points will be fine. I'll still win.
You dick.
And then hit me with Mecole Hardman.
God damn it.
Playoff Mecole.
That's where I was going next. That sucks.
Yeah. That's the thing about letting you pick the first quarterback.
Yeah. That's fair.
Literally just last pick.
I guess I should have just not taken a quarterback and just because I would be happy with Matt Stafford as well. So
yeah, if you had not, I would have grabbed Joe Burrow and you would have got Mecole Hardman. Or maybe, I don't know, AJ might just want every one.
Yeah, I do want everyone. So I'm just going to do this, and I'm just going to take the Rams D.
Oh,
that's a good call, player.
Damn right.
Yeah, that made sense.
Wow, I like you even put him on my team.
Damn it. All right.
Appreciate it.
Done it and done.
Just get that out of the way.
So I need to fill that second running back spot. Yeah, I mean, I'll do it. Let's just get Jet McKinnon out of there. I'll do it. Fuck it.
Let him be.
And then for the flex, oof, that's tough. You know what? Give me Van Jefferson.
Nice.
Smart.
I like that.
He's coming on strong right now.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
Fundamentally sound, you know.
So, I guess I need a tight end and a running back here. So, I guess I got Cam. I could double up with Sony. Ooh. You know what? I'm going to take Darrell Williams just so it gets really interesting.
It's like a game of spin the bottle here.
Yeah. You know, it's a gamble. Like, if he gets all the touches, I just win.
Congrats.
Hey, thanks, man.
I guess I'll take Matthew Stafford.
Oh.
That Jimmy G broke-ass thumb. It seems to be healing more and more each week.
Yeah. That's weird. Oh, shit. I don't think I've been striking through these, boys. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
It's the final countdown. Give me the Niners.
Last pick.
Fuck. Oh, damn. Yeah, I'm going to get screwed here.
Yeah, I thought as much. Just go with your Bengals stack, man.
Yeah. I mean, the Niners did play fairly well, or really well, against the Packers. Kind of made us look silly after that first drive. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that they do it to the Rams, too.
They really have a knack for inclement weather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's one of those things. It's starting to be like, is playing at home in January actually a benefit for the Packers?
Dude, it was so surreal.
No San Fran.
It was so surreal to watch the Packers for San Francisco game, and then the next day, you wake up hanging out and you watch the Bucks playing at home. You're just like, what am I watching? Like,
yeah,
this is so crazy.
Fuck? Yeah.
I took CJ Uzama. Uzama, I don't even know. But
Uzama for your mama.
Uzama for your mama. So the defense, you're going Bengals?
Yeah, I might as well. I don't think they'll do well, but if I pick the Chiefs, it doesn't make sense because I have too many Bengals. So I'm just going to be hurting myself.
Yeah.
I guess I just got to hope for some Patrick Mahomes turnovers like earlier in the year.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I didn't stat those for the last 6 weeks, but he is in a pretty good situation.
Yeah, he's been doing well. I just gotta hope he sucks all of a sudden.
Doing all right.
Or that the Bengals offense just does enough to make up for their defense.
Yeah.
Pretty sure Frank Clark's gonna have another strip sack. So.
Well, he was until you said that.
Oh yeah, I guess they will now probably get more
Ingram's
sacks.
Get it.
They did just get sacked 9 times last week.
Yeah.
I guess, can I switch that? I'll take the Chiefs.
Definitely. Good call. Yeah.
Still not confident in it.
If you win, it's going to be an asterisk.
I think it was the third best choice.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that's it. That's the draft. Take a good look.
I don't know if we're even going to be able to do another one of these,
Yeah, well, unless we get creative.
We'll all make our own Pro Bowl teams. Jesus.
We could just do a one quarterback, one running back, one receiver, one tight end, but not reveal it till the end, like a DFS style.
That's true.
Just enter it, see how.
Have to submit it first.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just sign auction values. We just make a friend group on one of the apps.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
But I think that's it. Anything else left to say, boys and goyles?
I love you guys.
Oh, stop it.
Straight up. He's frozen. He ain't frozen. It's just.
He was just I ain't frozen. I don't love you back.
That is not it.
He was
lost in thought.
He was like, I love me too.
To respond.
That's cool. AJ's got a box of Pinot Noir on the desk.
I got the black box.
Fuck yeah.
We're doing Classy Wednesday.
Hell yeah.
I get the banquet myself.
Hey, I'd say that went really well. That was a fun episode.
It was awesome. I wish that I wish I'd read my notes a little more instead of going.
We're not here to critique ourselves. We're here to congratulate ourselves.
Congratulations
on the next episode. So, hey, thanks for sticking around. Yeah, round of applause. Hey,
we're
round
still
of applause.
recording.
Good job, us.
Wow, everybody. Good job, everybody.
Take care, everybody.
See ya.
Peace.